Architectural Review Commission. Welcome everyone. I'm Ted Kempton, Chair of the Commission. If you are here to present a project, you will have limited time to make your presentation. So we suggest being thorough but concise. When coming to the microphone, you will need to identify yourself and your relationship to the project. The commissioners will not ask any questions during your presentation. Your project should be presented in the following order: site plan, elevations, architectural details, wall sections. Staff will then present their report. We will then ask for public comment. Please state and spell your name clearly if you are here to speak for or against a project. Your time will be limited to 3 minutes, so take some time now to summarize your comments because 3 minutes goes by very quickly. Following public comment, the commissioners will ask questions in the same order as the presentation. Next, the applicant will have 5 minutes for rebuttal. The public hearing will then be closed. After the public hearing is closed, no further testimony can be given. The commissioners will then discuss the case and will make their decision based on Chapter 27 of the City Code of Ordinances, the design guidelines, the Secretary of Interior standards, Historic Preservation Development Review Committee comments, and the testimony given to the public hearing. The ARC can only act on items that are within our specific jurisdictional responsibility. Owner agents are independently responsible to obtain any appropriate permits and/or approvals. If you haven't already done so, please silence cell phones. I'll start on my left with the introduction of commissioners.
Elena Perez Ketchum, Attorney Rep.
John Prokop, I practice architecture. Brian Hammond, architect.
Tim Jones, General Contractor.
Also in attendance, we have city staff support, Ron Vila, Elaine Lunn, Jared Varnum, and our in-house counsel, Dana Crosby Collier. Okay. All right, looking for a motion on the minutes.
Move to accept the minutes.
Second.
All right, seeing no discussion. All in favor of accepting the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ron Beal on staff of Historic Preservation. Under announcements, I wanted to state that we are having our Wednesday public hearing. We have a couple cases on that night to move forward. Also, we have the staff approvals that are in your packets. You could go through that. And if you have any comments, reach back to the office. And then we also have our publication bricks and mortars in your packet as well. So this month we're going to be discussing Ybor City, and under preservation and progress, Elaine Lunn is going to piggyback on the information there. So Elaine.
Thank you, Ron. Elaine Lund, Historic Preservation staff. This month we are going to provide a presentation about Ybor City, which is currently celebrating its 140th anniversary. Do you have the presentation on your screens? Okay, we have a PowerPoint presentation for you. Are we still waiting? Yeah, we're still waiting. Okay. If we could get the PowerPoint presentation from the, on the screen, thank you. That's blank.
The one that's on our screen is the one that's going to be.
Got it now? It's on mine.
There we go. Okay, wonderful, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So, Ybor City is named for Vicente Martinez Ybor, who established the area as a cigar manufacturing town in 1885, along with his friend Ignacio Haya, another cigar manufacturer, and a great deal of assistance from the Tampa Board of Trade. In the mid-19th century, Cuban cigar manufacturers were faced with political unrest in Cuba, And they began establishing factories in New York, New Orleans, and Key West. The latter, Key West, became particularly popular because of its proximity to and similarity in climate to Cuba. In 1869, Vicente Ybor set the future course of the cigar industry in the United States when he began importing large quantities of Cuban tobacco into Key West and employing exiled workers to make his Havana cigars. However, he was plagued by distribution problems and labor union strikes there, so he began looking for a location in a less isolated area. Late in the spring of 1885, Ybor was visited by friends who had just been to Tampa to assess its potential as a center for the manufacture of guava paste and jelly. Although they did not find forests of guava trees in Tampa, they were both excited about Tampa's potential, and they urged Ybor to consider it as a new site for his cigar factory. At their urging, Ybor and his friend Ignacio Haya went to Tampa. Here you can see a view of Ybor City in 1885, and also one of the few existing photographs of an early building in Ybor City, which initially was used as Ybor's cigar factory. Once the factory that we all know today as the Ybor factory, the brick one, was constructed a year later, Ybor donated this building to the community for use as a theater, a school, general multi-purpose building. But to back up a little bit, Ybor and Haya have recognized the potential in Tampa's port and its recently completed railroad line. They recognized that the climate, which was much like Cuba's, that it would help in the production of Havana cigars, and its proximity to Havana would not greatly increase the cost of transporting the tobacco leaf. In 1885, Ybor and Haya were able to purchase land for their factories and worker housing, and they both began constructing their factories in about 60 buildings for the workers to live in. Initially, most of these buildings were boarding houses or with rentable rooms, but later on we began to see the individual houses for families. And during the spring of 1886, Ybor's factory in Key West burned, and after he was unable to buy additional land there, he decided to concentrate all of his energies on Tampa. So by the end of 1886, Ybor City was a reality. In the area from present-day 6th and 9th Avenues between 12th and 14th Streets, the Ybor and Haya cigar factories were in full operation, and several hundred worker houses were completed and occupied. On your screen now, we see on the left the image of the brick Ybor factory, which still stands today. The La Mirta Firehouse, which was the fire station for Ybor City. It's this small one-story wood frame structure there. And the two-story Gonzalez y Castillo store. And that's all along 8th Avenue that we're looking at there. The smaller photograph on the right side of the screen shows the Sanchez and Haya factory, the first building built in Ybor City for the construction of cigars, and it's on the south side of 7th Avenue there, and that's how it looked around 1890. The little wood building out front, I believe, was a watchmaker's shop. This image of the city of Tampa shows how it looked in the early 1890s. Ybor had rapidly grown. It was annexed into the city of Tampa in 1887, just within a couple of years of its founding. You can see in this image the Hillsborough River with Tampa proper on its east bank, and across the river to the west, the Tampa Bay Hotel in Hyde Park. To the north is the up-and-coming Tampa Heights subdivision, and to the northeast is the booming factory town of Ybor City. You can see the, was to become the Atlantic Coastline Railway running from Tampa proper to Ybor City, and then from there to parts north. Many of the early buildings associated with the cigar industry and its workers were constructed out of wood, as they were needed to be put in place pretty quickly. These early buildings went up quickly, and here you can see the first factory that was constructed for the Tampa Box Company, operated by Henry Lehman on the left, and on the right there are some of the buildings that were along 7th Avenue, including the original Centro Español building in the foreground of that photo. Businesses such as restaurants with retail establishments, with offices and rooms for rent above, and the home of one of the early mutual aid societies, the Orden Caballero de la Luz. Unfortunately, many of these early wood buildings succumbed to fire, but that made way for the Ybor City that we still know today. The early wood structures were quickly replaced, and soon the area along the commercial core was full of these one and two story brick buildings. The scene here, I believe, is looking from, I want to say this is 14th or 15th, but I think we're looking back to the west here. The photo on the right, of course, is the Italian Club. The mutual aid societies and social organizations were established early on for the various ethnic groups in Ybor City and have served the population for now well over 100 years. These photographs show some of the conditions in the 1930s. Ybor City's economy had begun to suffer with the Great Depression and the rising popularity of the less expensive cigarettes. Cigarette companies have been targeting soldiers in World War I, promoting their product as a comfort to help soldiers escape the hardships of war. Cigarettes were included in ration kits in World War II, a practice that continued until 1975. As cigars became less of a daily staple and the demand for them declined, factories began to cut back on production, and many of them closed. With the closure of factories and the implementation of the GI Bill, an exodus from Ybor City began. Veterans were able to purchase larger homes outside of the old neighborhoods. So this is an aerial map of Ybor City in 1938. You can see it's a very dense urban environment. You can make out the rail line that heads up to 6th Avenue on the south side of Ybor City, Cascading Park on the north end. Interstate construction came through in the 1960s, which took out many of the original buildings underneath the footprint of the interstates. This was followed by urban renewal programs, which cleared out entire blocks that were designated as slums. And here you can see where many of the blocks were left as vacant parcels for quite a number of years, with many urban renewal projects that were proposed and never came forward. One of the early and lasting approaches to improving Ybor City in these years was the creation of the Barrio Latino Commission in 1959. The Barrio Latino Commission was initially put in place to help promote Ybor City as a tourist destination. This board was authorized to regulate architectural design in Ybor City, and the state had passed this legislature in, as I said, in 1959, but later the city adopted an ordinance reflecting the creation of the Barrio Latino Commission as well. The boundaries for the district, known as the Barrio Latino section, were stated to be Columbus Drive on the north, 4th Avenue on the south, 22nd Street on the east, and Nebraska Avenue on the west. The state and local legislation noted the area's quaint and distinctive character and limited the removal of Ybor City's noted overhanging balconies and canopies and their ironwork. During this time, this was prior to the 1966 Historic Preservation Act. So this, to be clear, the initial establishment of the Barrio Latino Commission was to improve the appearance of the neighborhood, to attract tourists, and not necessarily to follow any particular preservation standards. However, it was not until the 1970s that Ybor City was recognized as a historic district. It was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 1974. Initially, just the commercial corridor. You can see the map shown here in blue, the outline of the first Ybor City Historic District. In 1975, the local historic district was established by the state legislature. And notably, that's 50 years ago from this current year. The nomination report for the National Register addressed the large cigar factories, the social clubs and mutual aid societies, and the more iconic buildings in Ybor City. Around the same time, several of these buildings, along with the district's iron balconies and 5 globe streetlights, were documented as part of the Historic American Buildings Survey, which is housed at the Library of Congress. And you can see some of those drawings at the top of your screen. When the state established the local Ybor City Historic District in 1975, it provided that the Barrio Latino Commission was to serve as its architectural review board and outlined its powers and duties. This 1975 act also provided that the city of Tampa could grant the Barrio Latino Commission additional powers and duties by local ordinance. And the city of Tampa definitely did that the same year. It was, I believe, a bit later in 1986 that the initial set of design guidelines that the Barrio Latino Commission still uses today came into effect. In the 1980s, there was a movement to recognize many of the immigrant contributions to the development of the United States, and one of these efforts was came to pass as the establishment of the Ybor City National Historic Landmark District in 1990. This larger historic landmark district reflected the residential components of Ybor City and its various immigrant populations. Locally, from 1998 through 2013, there were multiple boundary expansions of the local historic district, taking it further to the east, further south down to Adamo Drive, and north in 22 21st, to be more in line with the area that the National Historic Landmark District included. So this early 1920s view of Ybor City looking northeast from the gas. So that's this month's Preservation in Progress, and for additional information about the Ybor City Historic District, you can refer to this month's newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. That was a lot of information to take on. Moving down our agenda, legal will address the board.
Yep. Good evening, Dana Crosby Collier from the Legal Department. Would like to ask if any member has a conflict of interest with any item on the agenda this evening? Okay, and has any member engaged in, yes?
I don't. I live on the street
Okay,
as
okay, perfect. And has any engaged in ex parte communication regarding any item? Okay, thanks.
Continuations, we're going to need two separate motions. One motion for the first two that are reflected on the agenda, which is for ARC 25-0000-240, and the second one is ARC -25-00-339. If we could get a motion for those.
I move to grant a continuance in case ARC 25-0000-240 for the property located at 825 Bayshore Boulevard to Monday, November 3rd, 2025, at 5:30 PM.
And then do the second case as well.
And move to an ARC 25-0000-339 for the property located at 1902 West Jutan Avenue to the public hearing on Monday, November 3rd, 2025, at 5:30 PM.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to continue these two cases. Seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the following motion will be for ARC 25-0000-522. That was reflected on the agenda. And then we had a last-minute request for a continuation, and that's for the second item reflected on the agenda, which is ARC 25-0000-280. Both of those are going to be continued to the December 1st, 2025 public hearing at 5:30 PM. And if we could get a motion for that, please.
Just one second. Dana Crosby Collier, I just want to clarify on 522, you're only continuing review of the accessory structure. Tonight, you are going to be looking at the addition to the primary structure. That's still on the agenda. So if we could just read it as it's written on your agenda, that would make it clear.
Move to grant a continuance in case ARC 25-0000-522 for the property located at 840 South Boulevard to continue review of the accessory structure addition to Monday, December 1st, 2025, public hearing at 5:30 PM. And motion to continue ARC 25-0000-280 for the property located at 504 East Giddens Avenue for public hearing on Monday, December 1st, 2025 at 5:30 PM.
I second.
All right, we have a motion to continue the two hearings. Seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
At this time, we're ready for the swearing. If everybody that wishes to testify, including staff, please stand up, raise your right hand. Staff will swear us in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony being provided today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. So the agenda item that we're going to review this evening is ARC-25-0000-522. This is for the address of 840 South Boulevard. This is in the Hyde Park Historic District. There's two structures on site. The primary structure is contributing, that dates back to 1913, and the accessory structure is non-contributing. The underlying zoning is RS60. The existing square footage is 1945. The proposed addition is 582 square foot for a total of 2527. The request moving forward this evening is for new construction, in addition to the primary structure. The accessory structure as reflected on the agenda has been continued. And I'd like to go through the photos at this time. Starting with the 1929 Sanborn map. Property in question is highlighted and circled. That does face South Boulevard, that runs north and south. To the north, the cross street is Inman, and you see Bayshore Boulevard to the south. This is our vicinity map. You zoom on the vicinity map, you see the primary structure that is shaded, which is contributing. The accessory structure is not even shown, and it's non-contributing. This is the current day aerial. Once again, you have Inman is the cross street to the north. The house faces South Boulevard, and you see Bayshore Boulevard. This is within FEMA's boundaries. Since the primary structure is contributing, they have some flexibility that they could add on to that building. There's some rules that go into effect, but the request in front of you this evening is not affected, and it can move forward. The accessory structure is within the Lemois FEMA boundaries. It's non-contributing, so there's some stipulations as to if they could add on to it or not. We were not aware of that when they first made application, and going through the process, we were in discussions with the building department, and that's why that portion of this request has been tabled, so we get further documentation how to move forward. This is the primary elevation, which faces South Boulevard. This is 840. See a little bit of the primary elevation, and then the south elevation. To the south, you have a contributing structure. Moving back to the primary structure. Apologize for the pictures. It was in the morning and it was in shadow. Looking down the porte-cochere. Traditional porte-cochere with the details and the materials. Continuing past the gate on the porte-cochere where the drive aisle is, and moving towards the accessory structure. I just wanted to show this. It is a CMU building. It was built after the period of significance, and that's why it's non-contributing. Looking back from the accessory structure back towards the primary street, which is South Boulevard. And then to conclude with a couple photos, the historic part of the house is here. You see the addition. When they did the accessory structure, they probably did this addition as well. It's CMU with a flat roof. And just another shot of that addition that was done some time ago. That concludes the photo presentation. At this time, the agent will address the board. I think it's up already.
I didn't see it on there. Where's it at?
I see it up there.
Oh, okay. Here we are on the clicker. All right, guys. Tyler Thibodeau, Onyx Construction. I was hired by the owners, Kingdom Vacation Rentals, for the addition here at 840 South Boulevard. Rolling through.
I know we can't see it on our screen now.
It was turned off again.
Tyler, do you bring a paper back up?
I did. Let me grab that. 1 second. Sorry, guys.
Since they're having some problems with the video, all applicants are told to bring a paper back up, so we're gonna head that way.
So this is a survey here. Existing South Boulevard is this street over here. This is our structure. Our addition is going to take place over this existing one on the rear. Let me see if I got a pen to point with. Appreciate it. Thank you. Our addition is going to take place over this existing portion on the rear. Everything else back here is going to remain the same. 1-story garage, AC unit's going to stay in the same place. Driveway, everything's going to remain untouched through here. Tree is going to stay in the same location. You guys like to see wall section next or elevations?
You can do site plan elevations, architectural details, wall
Site
section.
plans, elevations, okay. Site plan was there. Here we have the
And then can you
existing,
zoom out so we can see them both at the same time?
absolutely.
Thank you.
This side over here is existing. It shows the CMU portion. Back here, really, nothing changes till we get over here to the proposed portion. You can see the addition peeking out in similar retrospect to the addition over here. That was done some time ago. From the side elevation, we have this line here as kind of the delineation line between, you know, the historic aspect of it and the additions back here. Once again, this one's already existing. This second story addition is the proposed one. And we'll have to tie in through this roof line coming back through here. On the north elevation, kind of same thing, mirrored. We are taking away, we're kind of encompassing this dormer on the back with this addition and matching it up with overhangs, similar to what's already there, matching all that. And this is actually coming out over the existing addition down here. And we're going to brick clad this column, brick clad the existing addition to blend in a little bit better than what it is now, and stucco everything up top to match. Wall section here. This bottom portion it's already done for us. It's all existing. The only thing we're going to do to it is add the brick veneer on the front to help it blend in with current guidelines. New construction is starting up top here with the pre-engineered truss. We have some 2x and 1x kind of strategically placed in here to act as stucco expansion, similar to what was done on the existing house. The soffits are going to match to what's already there. It's beadboard on the underside. They are a quite large soffit. I want to say they're 3.5 feet, 42 inches, somewhere in there. And we're going to match the exposed rafter tails, what's already there as well. With the details here, the existing windows are all going to remain. On the newer addition here, we're going to go with a Anderson full wood window. They do come in a 9 light as to what's currently existing on the house down there. We can get the bottom as just glass and the top is a 9 light to match what's already there. These are all the specs for these windows. Couple pictures of the existing conditions. You can see the 9 light windows here. These are all going to remain, but our wood ones are going to match these. Open on the bottom, 9 light on top.
Can you zoom out? I'm trying to figure out where that is that you're just pointing
sorry.
to. Yeah. North, okay.
This is the brick veneer that the architect has spec'd for this project here, I'm sorry. It's got all the details with it if we want to know anything as far as those go. Comes in a full brick as well. If we need to do a full brick, we can get the veneer corners, the thin brick corners, we can get everything, and that's the color that they believe matches. The beadboard here is the That's the underside of the soffit. It's exposed soffit, this beadboard's up there. It's pretty standard for that. They would like to replace the roof here in its entirety and going with a, just a GAF product. Timberline HGZ is just probably a charcoal color. We have it selected here. This is the exterior kind of finish schedule, finish sample they're trying to use. This is an existing house over 815 Bayshore Boulevard. Similar color on the windows. We're not going to touch the brick. We're just probably going to pressure wash it and do a sealer on it to preserve it. Similar roof as well, charcoal color roof there. The front door, there's currently a transom. It's a 3-light transom that's above the door, and we're going to leave that transom and try and just replace the door. And the transom and the door all together will give it the effect to match the 9-light windows that are there. You can see the transom up here in this picture, hopefully, and that's going to remain. And that's all I have. Any questions? Open it up to
Okay.
you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Up here, Ron. Yep.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ron Vila. I'm a planner with Historic Preservation. Staff's finding that this application is consistent with the Hyde Park Design Guidelines. We reviewed the plans that were uploaded September 16, 2025. We feel that this application is consistent for the following reasons. On page 3 of the staff reports, we have the bullets from the Hyde Park Design Guidelines, and for scale massing, that this addition is in the rear and it meets those conditions. The podium that's here that he's adding on to, there's a little setback issue. If you look at the site plan, that also delineates the primary structure from the addition as well. Moving through the conditions on the staff report, he addressed a few of them this evening, but a little bit more discussion is warranted. He talked about the brick, showed the brick, either the face brick or the true brick would be appropriate. He provided an example, but he didn't talk about the stucco pattern. On the second level, there's a stucco pattern that's established there, and maybe to break from what the historic structure has, you do a different stucco pattern to be sympathetic to the historic structure. There is a column on the rear that's holding up the load in the back. I think there's some discussion that needs to take place on the column and how it's detailed out. He talked about the windows, and I know that there's Secretary of Interior standards that we have to move forward, that there's a deviation from the historic home to the addition. Although he's incorporating wood windows, there is a change in the window makeup. All the new windows have vinyl jam liners, so when you look at it, you'll be able to tell that the window is different from the historic window as well. So that's another way to tell the differences between the primary structure and what they're requesting today. Having said that, I believe all the items have been addressed, and I'll be here to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. All right, seeing no one in the audience, we're going to move on to commissioner questions. I'll start on my right.
You stated on your site plan that where your AC was. Can you put your site plan back up, please?
Yep.
And it says here on your application, existing is 1,945 square feet. You're adding almost 600 square feet. You're not going to have to add a second AC system to the home?
I think their intent here on the design side is if they do add a second air conditioner, they're going to add it right next to it. But they believe, I think they can go to a 5-ton and get everything.
Okay. The brick cladding on your wall detail, on one of your wall details, it showed that you were using a thick brick over the CMU with a ledge. Do you have that detail?
Yep.
So how does that detail work with using your thin brick?
So they offer that product in both thick brick and thin brick,
So
so
you would use a thick brick over the CMU?
we can use a thick brick, yep.
Okay. Can you pull that detail down a little bit so I can see the soffit that you have? Okay. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Do you have a floor plan?
We do have a floor plan. It's very vague. We want to pin down the exterior before the designers and everybody moves more towards the interior. Give me a second to zoom out here. So this is existing over here. Let me zoom out a little bit more and proposed.
Okay, and having seen this, could you just pull up the elevations again one more
Absolutely.
time? Okay, thank you.
Could you leave those elevations up? And I need some clarification here because I'm losing this whole gable. And the second elevation from the top, yeah, on the left side, I'm seeing this roof gable. Not this side gable, the side gable that's facing us, right? It's a very prominent side gable, and it's very definitive, and it's got symmetrical windows and everything like that. And then I look to the addition on the right, and that gable's gone. The gable just disappears. And I'm wondering how the addition is. The addition isn't just over the existing addition,
Right.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any way that you can design the exterior walls of that second story part of the addition that you're adding onto over top of the main contributing structure and still leave that gable roof definition edge that you can see in the left elevation? Is there any way to maintain that gable edge elevation when you put your addition on it?
We can definitely,
You know what I'm asking?
I do understand. I asked the same question to the engineer and the architect as well. And the problem they were struggling with is the overhangs on this house are just enormous. 42 inches is, I believe, what they are. And they struggled in getting the overhang to match up here. That's actually a horizontal overhang. I had to get some clarification myself from them. And the way that tied in, was a little bit interesting to me on the way they chose to do that. Now, we can go back and certainly explore some different options. I agree with you. I think maintaining some sort of a gable there would be pretty nice.
One of the Secretary of Interior standards that you're probably aware of is that you don't destroy or demolish contributing materials in the process of putting an addition on the house. Correct? You understand that?
Yep.
And what we were doing here is we're destroying original fabric of the main house to put an addition on. And and you're even not clear on how that is happening, and it's a weird condition, correct? The other thing that's kind of odd to me is that looking at that same elevation, if you look at the existing CMU addition to the left-hand edge and the vertical line that shows the division. Yeah, the vertical line shows the division from the addition. No, you're in the right. No, go back to the original one. That vertical line right there that shows the change from the main house to this CMU addition. The width of that and where those windows are located does not reflect on the new elevation on the right. The windows, the width of that, they're not drawn at the same width. It's like it's not even the same building. And the windows are suddenly centered on the right-hand side, and they're not centered on the left-hand side. So it looks like you're tearing down the addition. According to these drawings, you're tearing down that CMU addition and rebuilding a new addition at a different dimension, or the drawing's just wrong?
There could be a scaling issue there, but we're not intending on touching the.
But do you
above
understand that
structure
the drawing on the left, the existing CMU addition, is not what's shown on the right-hand side?
Like you're talking about this space between here
Yeah,
and here.
it's a different dimension. It should be even bigger because you're wrapping it with face brick. So the one on the right should be even bigger than the one on the left, and it's shrinking. And it's just not, it's not making any sense. Can you, I guess, can you go to the floor plan also, again? And I'm trying to understand how the second floor addition, if the existing condition is to the right, and that whole angle, that whole roof line, can you dash in or show on with your pen where the roof overhang is for the second floor on the existing drawings? Because I'm not buying that the existing gable cannot be expressed. Now on the second floor, it's going to be on the second floor, right? Isn't that where you're going to see the roof overhang edge? Yeah, it's going to be out there, right?
Yep.
So tell me, how does the overhang on the right-hand side, how does that disappear with the addition? The way you've drawn the addition, how does that gable disappear?
Well, this all becomes a wall in here, right? A vertical wall. Right now it's a roof line to create a gable. This is a roof line. This is inset back here on, sorry, on the bottom down here. This will become a vertical wall. This wall will carry up, and that overhang essentially from
Okay.
here to here will go away with the wall.
So you're demolishing a substantial amount of the original house to put this addition on. Is that what you're saying?
This structure is built in to the roof, so we're just kind of building in and tying in.
But
back
you can't
here.
have that roof line, you can't have that roof line in a room. That entire roof is being demolished. The roof framing that makes up that gable is being demolished. Because you can't put a room up there with the roof framing passing right through it on an angle. Am I missing something?
There's currently a room up there, but it's lower ceilings, and there's a closet space back here.
Right, which is staying in the new plan. What I think needs to happen is that well, I don't know what needs to happen. I just think it's a considerable loss to have that gable go away and put an addition, and there's no dividing line between the existing and the new. There's no clear line. And that's one of the things that the standards really require, is a differentiation between the existing house and the new house. Would you look into consider looking into a way to define that?
Absolutely.
Okay. You mentioned face brick and full-size brick. Which one are you using, and where are you using them?
Are we able to use both of them? Will you guys take face brick?
On an addition?
On an addition, you will?
Yeah.
Okay. We were probably going to use the thin brick in lieu of the face brick on these areas as shown on the drawings.
But that's not what your wall section shows.
We will have to update the wall section.
Okay. You're replacing the entire roof on the entire house, correct?
Yes.
What's there now?
An older brown dimensional shingle. I think it was 9 years old.
Okay, we're not getting into colors here, but, okay, and then the front door, is there a reason you're replacing this front door with the transom over it? Can you zoom into that photograph of the front door? I don't think we have a good choice, good picture of it. But you are replacing that door, right? That's what you were suggesting?
Yes, it is damaged and needs to be replaced.
Is it original to the house?
I do believe so.
Would you consider having it repaired? Because it looks rather, I mean, I really can't tell from the photograph, but it looks rather elaborate. Is there a way to not replace the door and to have it repaired?
We can certainly explore those options.
Would you be willing to look into that?
Yes.
Okay. And then to the stucco patterns. Can we talk about the stucco patterns on the addition?
Absolutely.
Can you show us, there's the existing stucco. Can you zoom into that? So that we can see what we're starting with. What is this stucco pattern
I
here?
think it's a skip trowel finish.
Okay. And you understand when we're trying to get into this differentiation, we don't want the addition to be copying the main house, correct?
Yep.
Because then nobody knows where the line is between the new house, the new addition, and the original historic structure, which is in this case, well over 100 years old, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you suggest? Do you have a suggestion as to what you can do to differentiate these two stucco patterns so that nobody confuses the addition for the new house or from the original house?
Yeah, we can do a traditional sand finish, or more commonly just sand finish.
And would you change the joints?
No, we were looking to keep the same wood expansion joints throughout.
Okay. And can you explain what this vinyl, do you have any detail on this vinyl jam liner for the window, for the new windows? I'm unfamiliar with that being, with a wood window, you'd think there wouldn't be any vinyl in it at all.
I can elaborate on that, Ron
Yeah.
Avila, staff. All new windows now that come from the manufacturer, whoever you use have a vinyl jam liner in them. So that's how they operate. They don't have the weights anymore, and they have those.
Oh, you mean just the slide?
It's
the slide.
It's inside the jam, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Would you consider and I don't know if it's been discussed with staff, and I don't want to step on staff's feet at all, but would you consider differentiating the additions windows, the 9/1 pattern, to make it a different number over one pattern, like a 6/1 pattern or even a 4/1 pattern, so that the additions windows differentiate from the original house's windows?
Yeah, absolutely. These windows come in many different options down here, so we've got plenty of choices.
Okay, I just think the additions windows, again, so people realize where the addition is and where the old house was, that's all. Of that. All right, I think I've beat the horse enough.
So essentially, those were my questions about the roof line. So how many square feet are second floor?
580 plus or minus.
And that's it?
Yep.
And it's mainly to build out that back room?
Yep.
To make it a bedroom, I guess?
Yeah, that's going to be the proposed master.
Okay, can you go back to your elevations and talk about that column in the back? Can you just describe it, or zoom in there and?
Here we are.
Where is it? Oh. And then it looks like the door is hidden behind something. Is there like a knee wall that's being added, or is that existing, or what's?
This door?
No, go to the one right above it, the elevation. All right, so the columns are to the left of your finger, and then that door, it looks like half a door. So what's in front of it?
Yeah, so there actually is a wall
right, can you slide it over a little bit? Yeah.
Yep, here, let
Okay.
me zoom out a
All
little
right,
bit.
so that's an existing wall.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay. So then how are you trimming out that column? It's all brick?
Yeah, the column, the architect chose to do, just match the brick that was going on there, and it played in with, you know, the columns throughout the rest of the house.
Okay, and that's an existing column?
This column here is, all of the other ones are existing. That will be out there to carry the load of the addition.
All right. Now, can you put the photos that show the rear of the house up? Because I know there's an elevation change there with that pool deck. I wouldn't have thought it,
And here's the wall over here.
so then why is that column, all right, so then that's flat surface. Your addition is essentially flat against the pool. Now put your elevation back up. So now slide so we can see the bottom. And it looks like the brick is extending down below whatever that white base is.
We're gonna have to get down to solid ground there. That pool's built up about, I wanna say 3 feet in the back. Let me see if there's topo information on the site plan.
Yeah, but you wouldn't see that. Like, where is the pool elevation on that? On that last rendering on the bottom, where is the pool
Your
elevation?
pool's gonna stop here. You won't see everything below grade.
Okay, that's all
That's just
below
gonna be
grade.
concrete
All right.
down there.
That's below grade, okay. Gotcha. Got it. Okay, we talked about that. Are you adding any lighting fixtures? Exterior fixtures?
No, the owner wants to, well, let's think about this on the rear. No, they're gonna rebuild everything that's there. We talked about it on site. They have some pretty big fixtures on the front porch, and they want us to try and send those out and have them refinished, put new glass in them.
Okay. Also, if you'll put the elevations and looking at the front, those existing windows on the second floor facing the street, are those storm shutters? You know, put the photograph up if you don't mind. Are those storm, like plexiglass storm shutters on there, or are you replacing those windows, or what's going on there? Second floor windows.
Yeah. This is an interesting feature to this house. I think we're still, we're not looking to change it, and we're not looking to,
Can you zoom into it?
yep, absolutely. This is, I'm not exactly sure what it is, if it's old porch that was enclosed at some period of time. We tried to look back and find out what actually happened to it.
But do you know what, is it aluminum?
I'm not too sure what the windows are. When we were looking into it, we were looking into more of, if we were to open this up and probably bring it back to maybe how it used to be, how do we make sure everything below it is watertight? You know, because this hangs out above
Yeah.
the front porch.
Right.
And I think everybody, the architect and engineers just kind of decided, and the owners kind of decided, well, let's not really do anything with it. Let's just try and restore what's there. You know, with some paint, clean it up, keep it. Yeah, absolutely.
So I went on site and met Tyler there. This is a, high-end craftsman style home. That gable on the front would have received some windows or some venting or something. Staff believes that this was an addition after the fact. So through our discussions, I told him it would be appropriate to remove that portion on the front elevation that was not original to the structure. After further evaluation, they just said, hey, we're gonna leave it alone. So they don't know what to do with it at this time. But if there was any movement on that element, I felt it would be appropriate to remove it because it wasn't part of the original fabric.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Would the owner consider removing it? And then rebuilding the roof underneath it so you could waterproof it?
I can't speak for them. I know that they were looking to build out some additional square footage above the garage in the back, and I don't think that's gonna happen. So I think right now they're trying to keep on to any square footage they can.
Understood. Okay, last question is, foundation of that. Are there any openings? How are you dealing with it? Is there anything, any change, or is it just that same brick pattern going all the way down to the ground?
It is the same brick pattern that does go all the way down to the ground. There's some vents in there. They're just kind of shown in a couple little areas. You know, there's a screen over this for access, but along this side, there's just a very few amount of vents. The
Okay.
existing footing that's under there, we did some exploring here in the last couple days and did not get that information into this set of plans, but the existing footing under that addition is sized properly to support what's above, so we don't need to do any work there.
Okay. And then last, if you do have to upsize your AC, are you gonna have to elevate it because of the FEMA flood?
We can certainly look into that. I don't have that answer right now.
Well, my question is if it does have to be elevated, are we gonna see it from the driveway, from the road? Is it gonna have to be screened?
That's what I'm checking out right now. Here's the existing air conditioner at the bottom here, so if we do elevate it, you know, you're gonna get into the window over here. I don't think they want, it's over here in this corner too, so if you elevate it, you're gonna get it on this back patio and you're gonna get noise from the patio.
Okay. Sure.
Was there discussion with the architect about keeping, what is it, the gable? The roof line, the gable, and doing an addition somehow?
There was a lot of discussion into, you know, how does this dormer play into the addition? Originally, the addition kind of stopped at this edge here. And this it created somewhat of a shed roof over this dormer that was here, and then they kind of decided that it'd just be good to overtake the whole dormer, and how that plays in, you know, I think they just kind of worked through it on their drawings. And
So is it too narrow to keep the gable? Does that upstairs room become too narrow and it's not enough square footage? I mean, why are we taking out the gable, I guess is really
That
my
gable
question.
end?
Why are we doing that? Because to me, it seems like that is, when you're coming down the street, you're gonna, you know, that's what you see is that gable, and now it's gonna stop, and there's gonna be this, what appears to be, I'm just telling you, from my perspective, a straight roof that I have a hard time saying that that's in line with the historic nature of the home. So, I mean, I understand they want to add, you know, 500 to 600 square feet, so I'm just trying to figure out, was there some other way of doing that that they looked at and said it can't be done because of that, or was that not really looked at? If you know, you may not know.
I know that the overhang, the size of the overhangs were a concern. If you continue this wall straight up, you know, I'm not sure how that plays into it, but they kind of decided, you know, that it went away from this point to this point. If you would carry that on, maybe they can take that wall and set it back and try and give it some more meat on it.
Yeah, it just seems to me that on that side of the house, you're just taking away the whole character of it and of that roof line. So, in any event, I mean, I guess we'll discuss that, but I just was wondering if they had really looked at that or not. But it sounds like some they had, some they hadn't, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, you have 5 minutes for rebuttal if you so choose.
No, thank you, we're okay.
All right, great. All right, at this point, we're going to close the public portion of the hearing, and we will move on to discussion.
I'm not really in favor of it. I'm not in favor of taking off the gable for 600 square feet. I mean, I understand why they're wanting to do it, but I don't know, it just seems like you're not maintaining the historic nature of the house and that side particularly by completely, I mean, it's gonna completely change what it looks like. And,
It's the easiest way to do it.
yeah.
It's not the right way to do it, in my opinion. Is you're destroying a whole bunch
Yeah.
of the original historic fabric and geometry of the main house. The addition is not supposed to do that. An addition is supposed to be able to be removed at a future state, a future time and place, and the original fabric still be there. And what's happening now is that that's not happening because they're trying to do it the simplest way possible, structurally, but not the best way historically.
Oh, I agree. It doesn't, in my opinion, it seems like they've kind of rushed through their design process a little bit, really haven't thought all the way through it, it's just my opinion. Their AC systems aren't gonna be adequate for the home that's there at almost 2,600 square feet. 5 tons isn't gonna work in an old home like this, they're gonna end up with 2 units. They're gonna have to elevate them, how are they gonna screen it? The thin brick, no, the thick brick, it just seems like they're on their way, I just don't think they're at the finish line yet.
I agree.
Some peer
Yeah,
pressure.
yeah, no, I mean, I can think of some ways that they, you know, that they may be able to continue that roof line.
And move the wall in, you know.
Move the wall,
change the
yeah, move
framing.
the wall in just a little bit, and, you know, maybe there's some steel involved, you know, just some.
I think
that-
they're doing it the simplest way
Yeah,
possible
right,
structurally,
yeah.
without
Those-
complicating things structurally.
Yeah.
But
That
it's the
first
wrong
floor,
way
the first
historically.
floor exterior wall is in line with the second story exterior wall. The gable end with the soffit is already overhanging 42 inches. You continue it down the rake, it's still outside the 42 inches outside that wall. They just terminated it and made it go horizontal
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
ways they can do it.
Right.
So here's a question I have. Is there a way to have this
To
move
move
forward,
forward.
but with staff support?
With
and-
very, very stringent conditions, mandatory conditions, like not just suggested. That's the thing, you know, we can't say, will you promise you will keep this? I don't know if we can mandate that. I don't know if a motion can say, you have to keep the gable edge.
What's the alternative?
Because the plan, it's a completely different plan. For them to do that, they have to, that entire addition has to be different.
Moved
It
over.
has to be in a different location. And then you have to treat the existing walls of the existing CMU with a shed roof coming up to the side of it if you're moving that addition over and not aligning it with the existing, you know, CMU little piece at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's also an issue, of course, with that, those being completely different dimensions, not real.
Yeah.
If it's denied, what happens?
It's a year.
Yeah.
It's a year.
Dana Crosby Collier from the City Attorney's Office. They will not be able to come back with this same thing in a year, but they can adjust the plans. If they adjust them sufficiently to the director's satisfaction, they could come back within the 12-month period. And you want to add something, Ron?
Yeah, just to comment on that, you have 3 different ways you could rule on your motion. You could approve it with conditions, you could continue, or you could deny it, I guess 4 different ways. So it doesn't have to go to the denial if he's willing to accept a continuation to work on the bullet items that are discussed today.
Are we able to suggest a continuance, or I thought that the
You can.
applicant had to?
You could say that that's the direction it's gonna go, and then if he accepts that. Also to comment, I think that there could be a motion with certain conditions on it, and if those conditions are not met, then it will come back to the board. So I think there's some leeway as well.
So a condition, because we can't.
Strong conditions, as y'all talked
Yeah,
about.
because we can't design, but we could say a condition that the gable is.
To incorporate that gable back into the design that it
Yeah.
stays.
Okay.
Yeah.
That, you know, historic fabric is not demolished. That's the other thing, they're eating up that gable in the back too, they're just eating it up. Which again, it's in the back, it's not public facing, it's all that, I mean, I understand all that.
Or is it better just to continue it and we all look at it again?
Well, personal opinion,
That's
I like to, no, right, I prefer to keep this moving because they are going through the process. So, it's the whole balance between, is there enough that has to be done, that they need more time? But either way, they're gonna get as much time as they need if we give strong, strong comments, cause they can take 90 days, they can take 120 days, whatever it is, but it gets to continue to move on without having to be back on the docket. So, and again, my opinion is, I don't disagree with any of the comments that we've had. They need to correct their drawings, they need to keep as much of the fabric as possible. It is in the rear of the house. I think this is doable, and I think if you word it correctly, I think staff is very capable of handling it, but I just think it's in the language.
Yeah.
And then they can take as much time as they need to get it right, and staff can
We
send it back.
don't, and we don't wanna add any more cases to our,
Well,
down
my
the road.
but my
Um,
concern a little bit is there's a lot that needs to get tied in. And so is it better for the architects to
Can
look
they-
at the tie-in?
Right, can they accomplish the conditions
Well, so,
in a manner that we would accept without us reviewing it?
so Dana, just for clarification, we give very specific conditions. Ron goes back and forth, and at some point, Ron either says, I believe they've met those conditions, or he says, no, you go back to the board, right?
Yeah, it would
So
have to
who makes
come
that
back.
determination that it goes back to the board?
So you'll give your strong direction, and then Ron will work with the applicant, and it will be up to Ron and Dennis to decide if it meets your criteria, and if not, if they don't feel comfortable approving what's presented by the applicant, they would suggest the applicant come back.
So would this, in essence then, since we're on this topic, would this in essence be, a preliminary approval with conditions?
If it's preliminary, it will come back.
Okay,
You have to
So
set the
that's
date
one
and
of the
time.
preliminary approval with conditions, which moves it forward, but we still see it again. What do you think, Ted?
I think that's the same as a continuance, frankly.
They're about the same thing. Yeah.
I just think that there's enough detail that needs to be done that, I mean, obviously, Mr. Vila is extremely talented and has been doing this for much longer than I can imagine. So he obviously knows what he's doing, but we have some very strong opinions sitting around here right now about how this is going to look. If we can convey that through our conditions strongly enough, then I think it can move on to staff. But I think the wording is going to be extremely important to do that.
Okay, so let's talk that out real quick. So the gable?
Yep.
Expressing the gable in its entirety, or no?
Well.
I mean, you gotta give some flexibility here.
Yeah, I mean, Commissioner Prokop's gonna be, gonna have the right words here, but in the.
It's kind of you to say.
Yeah, but in the manner that, expresses the existing structure.
The existing roof structure and geometry, and gable geometry in its entirety, that needs to be expressed.
Yeah.
That it does not, that the addition does not, diminish the historic character of the original house. That's really one of the main things that you don't want to do. And this is doing that. And there's ways of putting an addition on this house, especially a 600 square foot addition, that maybe that existing 600, or that existing little zit on the house
Right.
doesn't stay,
Yeah.
doesn't keep.
Because it's not contributing. It's not-
Maybe that goes away and you move the whole addition inboard and go up 2 stories. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's more complicated, it's more expensive. This is, what's being proposed is the simplest, cheapest way to doing things, not necessarily the right way for the historic character of the house and the district and the neighborhood. Or it's not in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards, which recommend that the existing house be, you could take off an addition and the original house is still there. That's the language of the standards that we swore an oath to protect and defend. You writing things down?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few others. The front door, you know, like,
And if there's presentation, if Ron or staff is, you know, I guess if they're satisfied that there's been enough damage to the existing door that it can't be repaired.
Right.
Because you much rather repair a historic door
Well, and
than
I-
replace it with a new one.
That's what staff does when they
Yep.
do the repair, so, yeah.
Right.
But we can put the explore the repair now. This is what I've got so far.
Okay?
Was there anything
there
else?
was windows, you know, considering,
Yep.
Yeah, the new windows
We
need
need
to
to add the
differentiate.
windows,
Yeah.
the layout.
Yeah, the window style. The,
Do we have a call out for the AC systems?
I put that on there.
All right.
I'm supposed to be able to read your handwriting?
Oh, yeah. I think it says penicillin, amoxicillin.
I move to grant certificate of appropriateness for the drawings and documents presented at this public hearing in ARC 25-0000522 for the property at 840 South Boulevard in Tampa, Florida, with the following conditions. That the applicant adjust the addition's geometry and structure to express the historic roof structure geometry in its entirety, that the addition does not diminish the historic character of the main house, that there be clear distinction between the addition and the new and the original house, that the plans and elevations reflect accurate dimensions, that the drawings and site plans show all mechanical equipment accurately and reflect any relocation and screening that's necessary, that the applicant explore the repair of the original front door, and that the applicant redesign the additions windows to have a different upper sash pattern than the main house.
Stucco pattern.
And that the stucco pattern be differentiated and the addition and the main, between the addition and the main house. Because, based upon a finding of fact, the proposed project would then be, with these conditions, would be consistent with the Secretary of the Interior standards and the Hyde Park Design Guidelines of the City of Tampa, because it would reflect proper scale, mass, and detailing.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a second, and
I have a question. How many do you need in order for it to pass? Does it have to be unanimous, or? No, it's a majority. Okay, go ahead.
okay. Before we have discussion, do you understand these conditions?
I do,
And
yes,
do
and I
you
agree.
agree to this before we vote?
Yes.
Okay. So any other discussion? Do you have something you want to discuss if you're asking that question?
I'm gonna vote not in favor of it. I think it should come back.
Okay.
But I just think it should come back before the board. I think there's too much of what it's going to look like ultimately. And with it being such a major addition, I mean, to me, it's not a lot of square footage, but it's totally changing the look of it. And I just think it should come back to us. But if I'm a minority, that's okay.
No, that's fair enough.
All opinions are valid.
Yeah. Any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I'm not sure I even want to vote for mine.
I just said that. If I want to do it,
All right, with that being said- all right, end of discussion. All right, all in favor of the motion with the conditions as noted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and all against? Nay. All right, so motion passes 4-1. Congratulations.
Thank you guys
Okay.
for your effort to preserve the historic area. Much appreciated.
Great, thank you. All right, looking for a motion to receive and file submitted documents and exhibits?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
All right, no discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. It's gonna work out, it's gonna work out.
And